There are still questions about whether the president will speak with special counsel Robert Mueller, but we do know one group the president will not talk to about any connections between his campaign and Russia.
Keep your young drivers under the speed limit, off their phones, and off the roads at night. That's the advice from AAA this time of year.
And as we launch our own commercials to get millennials and veterans to move here, one of our neighboring states is now targeting UW-Madison graduates to live and work there. The details are coming up on News 3 this morning.
This is News 3 this morning.
It's like, who's targeting me?
I know.
Who's targeting me to come live there?
I'm not a millennial, but I'm a UW grad.
Yeah. Well, you could still be.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to News 3 this morning. It is Monday, June 4th, 6 o'clock.
They want science and tech people.
They want science
There's our
and tech
scientists, our resident
right.
scientists. Don't be stealing them, Michigan.
Don't.
Michigan.
Yeah.
Well, I have some friends in Michigan. But I love Wisconsin.
There you
love
go.
Wisconsin.
Especially days like today.
Oh, of course. This is the best weather that we have this week, especially for the start of the week. Yesterday, if you spent any time outside, you knew that I waited 5 minutes and the weather sort of changed a little bit. We had some sun, a lot of clouds. Breezy and cool conditions yesterday. That all changes today. The sun is up. Skies are clear this morning. It is definitely a little bit cooler outside, but very comfortable. Temperatures are right around 50 degrees. Some spots, though, are in the 40s this morning. 48 from the Dells to Lone Rock, 49 in Boscobel, and only 46 in Camp Douglas. Now, our forecast for today has temperatures climbing into the upper 70s, so about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. There will be a breezy west wind through the afternoon at 10 to 15 miles an hour, but a relatively warm wind for us. So far this morning, it's been pretty quiet on the roads. Let's get a look at your first alert traffic early today. Some brake lights on the Beltline showing up at Stoughton Road, but no major delays in the downtown areas just yet. If you are heading into Madison this morning, you're still traveling at posted speeds on all the major routes into the city.
If you've got to have a Monday, you might as well have
That's true.
everything that we're experiencing so far this Monday.
Perfect weather today.
Thanks, kiddo.
You're welcome.
We start the news this half hour in Janesville, where a water rescue turned into an OWI arrest overnight. The Janesville Police and Fire Departments were called to the River's Edge Bowl around 12:30 this morning. When they got to the scene, they found a group of people trying to pull a man out of the river using jumper cables. Once officers were able to help get the man, 32-year-old Jesus Herrera, out of the water, they discovered he was drunk and allegedly drove through a 2-foot wall and into the water. He was arrested for a second offense OWI, but was later released. Police in Janesville had to use a taser in a separate drunk driving incident overnight. Police say 44-year-old Barry Lucas nearly rear-ended a squad car on Center Avenue at West Racine Street just before 1 a.m. Lucas then led police on a high-speed chase as he tried to get away, even driving down the sidewalk at one point. After crashing the truck into some landscaping, police say Lucas approached the officer in a threatening way. He was arrested after getting tased and is now in jail for multiple charges, including his 5th OWI, fleeing an officer, and threats to law enforcement.
6:03 right now. There are new concerns about possible earthquakes in Hawaii this morning and their impact on Mount Kilauea on the Big Island. Hawaii's County Civil Defense says a magnitude 5.5 earthquake shook that summit of the volcano just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. That would be right around 9 o'clock at night here in Wisconsin. While the earthquake did not trigger the threat of a tsunami, it did send a plume of ash about 8,000 feet into the air.
In Guatemala this morning, a volcano has erupted for the second time this year. More than 24 people are dead, at least 25 by official count this morning. Hundreds of others are injured. The eruption spewed smoke nearly 4 miles into the air. It covered local villages in ash. Thousands of people have been evacuated. Foreign aid is already being sent to this area, but rescue crews are struggling to reach rural villages, in particular, cut off by this eruption. This is the biggest eruption that volcano has experienced in more than 40 years. Officials say an undetermined number of people are still missing as well.
In Washington this morning, the president's meeting with the leader of the World Economic Forum today at the White House talked about the impact of increased tariffs on products imported from other countries. Meanwhile, his personal lawyer says the president will fight any attempt to testify before a grand jury in the Russia investigation. Rudy Giuliani said negotiations to have the president speak with special counsel Robert Mueller continue, but they don't have an agreement yet. Giuliani also told the Sunday political talk shows He believes the president does have the power to pardon himself, but it would, he said, probably lead to an immediate impeachment.
Speaking of tariffs, Q106 Farm Director Pam Jahnke tells us cheese and butter prices are already being affected by the threat of taxes in China. Wisconsin's ginseng producers are also among those closely watching trade negotiations this morning. Chinese leaders are again threatening to impose tariffs on American-made products if the U.S. does the same for goods made in China. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross was in Beijing over the weekend trying to negotiate a new trade agreement between the two countries. In a statement, the Chinese government said there will be no deal if the White House announces any new tariffs.
The state of Michigan will run digital commercials in Madison later this summer in an effort to get better trained workers to move there. This comes after Wisconsin launched its own campaign to lure millennial workers and veterans in Chicago and the Twin Cities to come here. Michigan's ad campaign is a $2.5 million effort to get recent college graduates in Madison, Chicago, and Pittsburgh to go there. The Choose Michigan campaign targets millennials in the science, technology, engineering, and math or STEM fields, and to share with them jobs and possibilities exist in Michigan.
Back in Wisconsin, we should have a better idea of what we will see on the primary ballot this August. Candidates hoping to be on the ballot had to submit the necessary signatures and paperwork to the Wisconsin Elections Commission by the end of the day on Friday. However, opposing candidates and parties are always given a chance to challenge those papers, and the deadline to do that is 4:30 today, this afternoon. The Elections Commission did open its doors over the weekend to give the challengers a fair chance to file. Members will finalize the primary ballot at their next meeting about a week from today.
There's an opportunity later today to share your thoughts on how Wisconsin schools are paid for. The Blue Ribbon Commission on School Funding has a pair of meetings set at the Capitol today. The first is going to be an informational hearing starting at 9 with representatives from UW-Madison, the Wisconsin School Administrators Alliance, and the Education Commission of the state scheduled to speak. After that, members of the public are going to be able to talk to the commission members. That hearing's set to start immediately after the informational briefing. If you want to speak, though, you're going to be limited to 5 minutes to make sure everybody gets a chance to share their thoughts.
The State Department of Justice is hoping a new secret camera program will help prevent elder abuse. The idea is to get reliable evidence for prosecutions by giving out free surveillance cameras to family members who suspect a loved one is being abused. Advocates say this will provide peace of mind for families and evidence for investigators. But some senior citizen groups are worried it's a violation of an individual's constitutionality protected right to privacy. This debate comes as state data shows the number of reported elder abuse cases to be going up every year.
Madison police are investigating a hit and run that sent at least one person to the hospital this morning. It happened just after 9:30 last night near the intersection of Moreland Road and Raywood Drive on the city's south side. That's not far from Southtown Mall and the Walmart right over there. Police say it was a two-vehicle crash that led to one person being pinned under a car. They did say that that person was taken to the hospital, is expected to be okay. One of the drivers ran away from the scene of the crash, and Madison police are still trying to track him down and talk about what happened. Traffic in that area was closed for almost 4 hours overnight while the investigation continued. Again, 2 people involved in the crash had minor injuries. One man was taken to the hospital with those non-life-threatening injuries.
We are about a week into the 100 deadliest days of summer. That's what AAA calls the time between Memorial Day and Labor Day, especially with the high number of fatal crashes involving teenagers. That organization says 10 people die every day in those summer months, and young drivers are responsible for all of those accidents. Now, AAA says the main issues for teens are distracted driving, nighttime driving, and speeding. More experienced drivers should be setting a good example.
You can tell your teen all you want that using your cell phone behind the wheel is unacceptable and texting is unacceptable. But if they see you doing it, then that's the message that they're going to get.
By the way, that 10 drivers or people killed per day in teen-related crashes, that's a 14% increase compared to the rest of the year. Parents should also be making sure their young drivers are following state law, which means no driving between midnight and 5 a.m. and no more than one passenger in the car.
We have another traffic closure near the interstate to let you know about this morning. Starting today, all traffic on Lake Drive Road underneath I-3990 near Edgerton will be closed until late September. Crews are working to replace the existing southbound bridge over Lake Drive Road as part of the interstate expansion in that area. And one other quick note traffic-wise down in Rock County, Highway 11 between Janesville and Orfordville will be closed until 7 o'clock tonight. Again, Highway 11 between Janesville and Orfordville closed as crews do some emergency work there.
6:09 right now. You may have seen a number of emails recently from companies talking about your online privacy. Coming up, Leah Linscheid is talking to UW's head of cybersecurity about why our inbox is filling up and what we ought to do about it.
We should do nothing about today's forecast except for enjoy it. Hattie says it's going to be terrific weather-wise. She'll share the best news of the day next on News 3 This Morning.
Call.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. A nice start to this Monday morning. We already have sunshine in the area. It looks like it is going to stick around throughout the entire day. Yesterday we had quite a few clouds and cooler temperatures along with pretty strong winds at times. Temperatures topped only in the upper 60s here in Madison, 66 in the Dells, 72 though in Janesville and Prairie du Chien. Temperatures should be a little bit warmer than that today. Shouldn't have any issues getting into the upper 70s this afternoon. Our normal high for this time of the year is 75, and we'll actually be at or a little bit above that through this week. I looked at some of those extended forecast models, and they are hinting at some heat and humidity returning to the area next week. But for this week, not bad. Satellite and radar trends early today showing you that any cloud cover from yesterday is long gone. Skies are clear for the entire state, and that's pretty obvious on this WISC-TV Skycam shot. Looking to the east from the station, we have nothing but sun in that view. Our temperatures, though, are a little bit colder, about 5 to 10 degrees colder this morning than this time yesterday. We're close to 50 in most spots. Camp Douglas is the cool spot in our viewing area with 46 degrees right now. Monroe is the warmest with 54. Dew points are low in the 40s right now and expected to stay very comfortable through the day. So even though temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer today, we're not expecting any humidity issues. Future track will show you what to expect over the next day or so. Sunshine this morning and a pretty rapid warm up. Take that lunch outside today with temperatures already getting into the 70s by lunchtime today. Now, some clouds will start to roll in late today, but highs will be in the upper 70s to around 80 through the Wisconsin River Valley. Turning mostly cloudy for a time tonight. As a front moves through the area, there is a small chance for some showers or even a few thunderstorms to pop up across southern Wisconsin. But it looks like any rain threat is going to move out of the area pretty quickly. So that sets us up for more sunshine tomorrow. That rain should not impact any outdoor plans that you have on Tuesday. Now let's take a look at that extended forecast then. We have temperatures that will stay very comfortable through the middle of the week. Mainly dry conditions as well. Highs approaching 80 degrees on Wednesday. Looking ahead to the extended forecast, we're looking at low 80s on Thursday and Friday. Chances for rain, though. Looks like a front could hang up around here, bringing some scattered showers and thunderstorms Thursday, Friday, and maybe even into Saturday. We should dry out as we head into Sunday. A look at our traffic this morning. Here's a look at traffic with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, starting off this morning, moving well on the Beltline. No major issues showing up yet in either direction. If you are heading eastbound, though, the sun is just at the right height right now that you will want to make sure you have the shades with you. Checking out Dane County, the usual brake lights are popping up on Stoughton Road approaching the Beltline ramps. That's going to add an extra minute or two. No problems at all downtown around the Capitol Square and UW campus. Volume shouldn't be an issue for another half hour to 45 minutes. And other main routes leading into the city are cruising along at the usual speeds right now with no major crashes or delays. With your First Alert Traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you very much, Josh. Thank you, Addie. 16 minutes after the hour, and right now in your email box, you probably have at least half a dozen emails with a headline that reads something like, privacy settings update.
Yeah, and if you're like our Leah Linscheid, they might still be unopened in your email. Leah, I'm with you there. She is live in the newsroom this morning, finding out what those all mean, why you have so many of them, and whether there's anything we all should be doing about it. Good morning, Leah.
Yeah, good morning. I am notoriously bad with my emails. Adam and Danica, you probably know this, so it's not surprising that I hadn't opened probably most of these. Look at the ones that I found this morning that were unopened in my very large inbox. I had one from Spotify, I had one from Google. All of these, they're called improvements to our privacy policy, privacy controls, H&M, Zaffle, a couple of different stores there, Venmo, Under Armour, eBay, even another app that I use. All of these, and that's only like half a dozen of probably a dozen or so that I have in my email right now. So what are we doing? Why are we getting all these emails? What do they mean? And is there any risk for our personal information? Well, Chief Information Security Officer at UW-Madison, Bob Turner, joins us this morning with an answer to those questions. Hi, Bob. Thanks for waking up with us.
Well, thanks for having me here.
So why are we getting all these emails? What do they mean? And why are we getting them all at the same time?
Well, the funny part about timing is May 25th. May 25th is when the European Union General Data Protection Regulations went into effect. And so a lot of companies are now scrambling to make sure their policy statements are updated to include the requirements of the European Union, especially if they're like tourist bureaus who are targeting European Union citizens to come to, say, southern Florida or Wisconsin. So the European Union regulations give a lot more protections to the individual by law. So, for example, one of the things they have is one of my favorites is called the right to be forgotten. So it's essentially telling the merchant that you're dealing with or the organization you're dealing with that you can have my information only for the purpose of the transaction which I'm giving it to you. And then you have to do something with it. In other words, protect it. One of the things that I like about this is that it kind of forces you to read what they're going to do with your information. And I think that's good for a lot of citizens to think about. A lot of people in Wisconsin who like their privacy should be looking at those.
That's a question I have. So obviously read all these emails that we're getting, but
yeah,
what do I have to...
You're way behind you.
Yeah, I know. I need to pick it up. What else do I need to do? Do I need to do anything as a consumer to protect my information?
Well, one of the things you have the right to do is tell them that very statement. You're getting my information for this transaction. And that's it. And hopefully if they're keeping your personal information, your name, your address, perhaps if there's some sort of an identity number like your social security number, your driver's license number, they're taking the steps to protect that information, because if I have those, I can become you. Not hard to do.
Pretty scary stuff. All right, Bob Turner, thanks for joining us this morning. And we're going to have some more tips coming up on our channel3000.com webpage. We're going to actually show you a to-do list of what you need to do when you get these emails. First and foremost, though, like Bob just told us, read them.
So that Under Armour website that you've got there, are you buying, Danica and me, some new kind of Badger paraphernalia there, some Badger swag?
I was looking at some volleyball spandex, Adam. Would you like a pair?
I got to work out a little better.
There we go.
All right, I'll order a medium. How's that sound? Good?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Speaking of fashion statements on campus, there is a new one on the UW-Madison campus that is much more than just about style. It is an effort to reach half of the student body and maybe more to help with something more and more young people are experiencing every day. We will share that story here in a couple minutes.
Chris is sharing a really nice forecast here in a minute or so. He's going to update the chance for some rain, though, coming tonight into tomorrow morning when News 3 This Morning returns.
Good Monday morning. It's a beautiful sunrise out there. We are going to keep the sunshine around for a good portion of the day. Live look at downtown Madison right now, not a cloud in the sky. If you're stepping out the door, expect temperatures to be in the upper 40s to low 50s, so a little chilly for this time of the year, but we're going to warm up pretty well into the 70s as we go through the rest of the afternoon. 77 your high today. Decorator clouds coming in towards the dinner time rush. Then those clouds start to thicken up just a little bit. That's ahead of a weak disturbance moving in later on tonight. That could bring the chance of some showers. Of course it would. I just washed my car. That's just how it goes. But what by the time you all wake up tomorrow, that's going to be long gone out of here with more sunshine returning for your Tuesday.
Good news. Thank you so much, Chris. It is 6:24 right now, but 1 in 10 of the students on UW-Madison's campus have thought about taking their own lives. It means thousands of students have at one point contemplated suicide.
Conlon Bass, though, is trying to put an end to that statistic with the help of some bright-colored bandanas. He started an effort on campus just a few years ago as a way to start the conversation surrounding mental health on campus. If nothing else, it's a way for students and staff to show those who are struggling that someone is willing to listen.
It's amazing that people care, that they're willing to help out and reach out and kind of stand as pillars of support for the people in their lives.
So Conlon experienced that support firsthand when he lost his uncle and a close high school friend to suicide when he was just a teenager. We'll have his full story posted over on channel3000.com a little later this morning. That's also where you can find expert advice on suicide and other mental health topics from SSM Health doctors on our Time for Kids, Time to Talk page. There are also resources for anyone struggling, wanting to take some time to talk with their family. Just go to channel3000.com/time4kids.
Such a powerful story about a young, I love people helping people's stories, and a young guy who's not going to let his own.
Yeah, he was motivated by it.
Yeah, he's just not going to stop.
Yep, and he still won't after this. He's going to graduate pre-med and go on to do amazing things too. So congrats to Conlon. His family was a big part of why he wanted to talk about it. They encouraged talking about everything. So thanks to them, and I thank him for sharing his story. It's awesome. So again, later this morning over on channel3000.com if you can.
Cool. All right, 6:25 right now. There's been a prank at a high school here in southern Wisconsin that sent at least one person to the hospital. Now the police are involved. We'll share the latest here in a couple of minutes.
And plans to build a new major hotel in Rock County. Get some help today. The day's top stories are coming up on News 3 this morning. The Rock County District Attorney could consider criminal charges after a senior prank sent at least one student to the hospital.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome back to the final half hour of News 3 This Morning. Now 6:29 on this Monday, June 4th.
So if it has to be a Monday and we have to go back to work and have to go back to school, at least you get the forecast that Hattie McLean is sharing this morning. Good morning, kiddo.
Good morning. Yeah, but as my children informed me, it's the last Monday of the school year. So something to cheer about. A beautiful Monday at that. Sun is up this morning. Temperatures are a little cool. So if you're walking to school or biking to school this morning, you might want a sweatshirt, but you won't need it this afternoon. Let's take a look at what it looks like in Platteville. Clear skies there as well. Nice warm up expected today. Our temperatures this morning are right around 50 degrees. Some spots, though, are in the 40s. So again, it is a little bit chilly this morning, but with the sunshine, temperatures should warm pretty quickly. Day planner temperatures take us to the low 70s by lunchtime, climbing into the upper 70s this afternoon. No rain in our forecast through the daytime hours today. Now, our first alert traffic update this morning will show you what's happening on the roads. No accidents to report, which is wonderful news. Just a few brake lights showing up on the Beltline near Stoughton Road. If you are traveling into Madison from the surrounding communities, you're still going at posted speeds. And that's your first alert traffic.
Thank you very much, Hattie. 6:30 right now. We start this morning in Rock County, where Clinton police are investigating a senior prank that sent at least one kid to the emergency room.
That's according to a Facebook post by one parent. The school district is responding with a letter to the community this morning. Our Leah Linscheid is live in the news center with what we know so far. Good morning, Leah.
Good morning. The exact circumstances of this prank aren't clear yet, but at least one parent on Facebook says her kid was taken to the ER as a result of being, quote, drugged. Here's what the district is confirming on its Facebook page. A senior prank last Wednesday, quote, endangered the health and safety of our students. As soon as staff found out about it, they called medical personnel and the Clinton Police Department. The district isn't saying anything about injuries, but a mom on that Facebook post said that her kid had to be taken to the emergency room. Now, on any sort of disciplinary action, again, the district not sharing specifics, only mentioning its belief in a, quote, restorative justice approach, adding while kids make egregious errors in judgment, graduation happening this past weekend is a time for celebration.
Certainly something we will be following up on with the Clinton Police Department, the Rock County District Attorney throughout the day. Leah Linscheid reporting from the news center. Thank you, Leah.
6:31 right now. A Janesville truck driver will make his first court appearance today in central Illinois, accused of using a slingshot and ball bearings to target minivans on the interstate there. One child was actually hurt in one of those incidents by shattered glass. Illinois state troopers say 53-year-old Kevin Casey is being held on $2 million bail, facing at least 2 felonies in these incidents. Casey's accused of shooting the ball bearings into minivans on I-74 at least half dozen times dating back to March. He's being arraigned today in Champaign, Illinois. We'll have the results from that court appearance this afternoon on channel3000.com. 2 Janesville men are facing charges today after running away from an argument with a gun outside of a house. This happened on Locust Street in downtown Janesville around 7 o'clock last night. 25-year-old Maxon Chan and 24-year-old Abel Hernandez were arrested on disorderly conduct and endangering safety charges. Chan's also accused of drunk driving and having marijuana.
A Madison man accused in a fatal hit-and-run accident is expected to enter a plea later today in Dane County Court. 62-year-old Douglas Waldschmidt has been out on bond since September of 2016. That's when prosecutors say Waldschmidt hit and killed a 53-year-old man near the intersection of Sherman and Commercial Avenues in the Maple Bluff neighborhood. Waldschmidt currently faces 1 felony count, and if he is convicted, he could serve up to 25 years for the crime. We will have an update, though, on whether he will plead to a lesser crime and charge later today on channel3000.com.
A Dane County judge is hearing testimony today about whether a murder suspect in Madison is competent to stand trial. We're talking about 27-year-old Ronald Rideau Jr. He's facing homicide charges after stabbing a man to death on the city's south side in June of 2017. His lawyers have actually questioned whether he's mentally fit to stand trial for that alleged crime. Now, detectives say Rideau Jr. was in a domestic partnership with 52-year-old Gerald Moore when he killed him last June in the apartment they shared over on West Badger Road. Rideau's trial was stopped in January after a psychiatrist testified he was mentally unfit to stand trial.
6:33 right now, and the Milwaukee County Zoo is taking care of more than 400 animals this morning that were removed from a West Bend home. West Bend police say more than 250 mice, 160 snakes, several frogs and geckos. They removed all of them from the house on Friday. Detectives found several animals dead or in poor health, and they are investigating a sexual assault case when they found these animals. The 42-year-old man who lived in that house now faces several criminal animal abuse charges and civil code violations as well. The city of Janesville is getting some help to rebuild a new downtown, or to build rather, a new downtown hotel along the Rock River. State economic development workers will offer a grant to the city to help build a cobblestone hotel on what used to be the parking lot on West Milwaukee Street. Construction is set to start this week on that project. The Cobblestone Hotel and Suites is one of a number of new hotels being built in Rock County to serve the growing number of people doing business there and traveling through the area between Madison and Illinois.
Efforts to spend millions of dollars to renovate Breese-Stevens Field on Madison's Near East Side need one final approval before the construction can start. The stadium was actually built across platted lot lines more than 100 years ago, which are now considered property lines. City building code says buildings can't be put up across property lines, and because of that, the city wants to remove those underlying lot lines and consider Breese-Stevens a single lot. In order to do that, though, it needs approval from the Landmarks Commission later on today. The city says it does not believe the proposed additions to the 100-year-old or so stadium in Breese Field will affect the historic character of that site.
6:35 right now. There are rescue efforts underway this morning in Guatemala after a volcano eruption that's already killed more than 20 people. We'll share the latest in the morning sprint.
And the fight against cancer tees off in the Dells later this morning with a number of celebrities participating. We'll have an update on the Andy North and Friends event, especially who some of those friends are when News 3 This Morning continues. Welcome back on this Monday morning. It's the time of the morning we always ask you to share a little bit of your morning with us, and the beautiful forecast we have today inspired me to pick this picture that Carrie had posted. This was Roxbury hot air balloons. I think this was from maybe earlier or last month, maybe late last month. I just thought it was beautiful, and we've got a mostly sunny skies today. It's just going to be a gorgeous day. So I thought it was great. Thank you so much for sharing, Carrie.
That is great. It's always kind of exciting when you look up and suddenly spot a hot air balloon randomly in the sky this time of year. What does your morning look like? Maybe it's not a hot air balloon. Whatever it is, though, take a picture, post it on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. Those pages, use the hashtag MyNews3Morning because that's how we find it, and then we always share our favorites right here on the program.
So speaking of things in the air, the biannual Stevens Point Air Show is trying to get younger people interested in flying by showcasing some of the people who have been flying for years.
So yesterday, hundreds of people of all ages came out to watch pilots fly everything from stunt planes to biplanes used to train World War II pilots. One of those frequent flyers is Susan Dassey. She's been a pilot for more than 40 years now and flew solo for the first time when she was just 16 years old. That is her sweet ride right there. She now travels around the Midwest flying the biplane fittingly named Big Red.
Big Red.
As a commercial pilot for American Airlines, flying Big Red gives her a chance to get a little more creative.
Loops, rolls, of course we call it hammerhead turn. The clouds are high enough so we can go vertical and do a few things.
I just realized her earrings were also like little biplanes. That's pretty cool. All of the funds raised from the event at Stevens Point go to the Ageless Aviation Dreams Foundation. That's a nonprofit organization that honors U.S. military veterans.
The hammerhead move, my stomach drops.
Yeah, no thank you.
On TV.
I like roller coasters, but none of that, please.
20 to 7 right now would be a great day for an air show today.
Yeah.
It's going to be warmer than it's been the last couple of years, and we should see the sun most of the day. Hattie says there is a chance for rain and storms. Not coming, though, until tonight. Her first alert forecast is up next.
First, though, it is June 4th. We want to say happy birthday to Vera and all of the kids turning 3 today. Thank you so much for letting us help celebrate right here on News 3 this morning.
We're taking a live look outside right now at the sun from the WISC-TV Skycam here on Madison's west side. We're going to see a lot of it today. It's going to be a terrific day weather-wise. Hattie's forecast is coming up in a minute or so. First, though, the Golden State Warriors are going to Cleveland with a 2-0 lead in the NBA Finals. Steph
Curry hit an NBA Finals record 9 3-pointers to lead the Warriors over the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Mr. LeBron James, 122-103 last night. Vegas odds makers this morning are taking a lot of money on the Warriors, sweeping the series for their third championship over Cleveland in the last 4 years.
UW graduate Andy North is asking a number of his Badger Sports connections to help him raise money to fight cancer today. It's going to be a great day weather-wise for the 10th annual Andy North and Friends charity golf outing at Trappers Turn in the Dells. Among the celebrity golfers, Olympic gold medal speed skaters Bonnie Blair and Dan Jansen, Robin Yount, and a number of former UW athletes, as well as a number of current UW coaches. The event raises money for UW's Carbone Cancer Center, where North was treated for skin and prostate cancer last year. That golf outing raised more than $1 million for research at the Carbone Center.
Man, I don't know if Mr. North and company could ask for a better day weather-wise to go out golfing, Hads.
I don't think so. Maybe they can beat last year's totals money-wise because the weather is going to be fantastic. Now, if you were golfing yesterday, you had to factor in the wind. It was a little breezy and chilly across the area. 67 for the high in Madison yesterday. If you were in the Northwoods, it was downright chilly with highs only in the lower 60s. Things are improving this week. It is bike week here in the Madison area. And if you're wondering whether or not you should bike to work, definitely yes today. Temperatures will be a little warmer, starting the 50s this morning, topping at 77 this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine through the first part of the week, low humidity as well, mainly dry during the daytime hours through Wednesday. So a great chance to get out on the bike. Now, current conditions this morning, 51 degrees, winds are calm, dew points are in that very comfortable range in the 40s this morning, so it's a beautiful start to this Monday. Satellite and radar trends are very quiet around the western Great Lakes region. Any cloud cover that we had yesterday is out to the east over Michigan today. Some clouds and storms to our south and west in Nebraska and parts of Kansas this morning. Those are not going to bother us, so things are going to stay relatively quiet. High pressure down to the south will keep things quiet today with sunshine in the forecast. As this weak front approaches from the west, there is a small chance for some showers or even some isolated thunderstorms overnight tonight, but it looks like that rain should end early on Tuesday. And then we have dry weather and sunny conditions for Tuesday into Wednesday. Southwesterly winds are going to kick in towards the middle of the week and warm us up even a little bit more. No airport delays at any of the major airports around here, so if today is a flying day for you, looking good here. There have been some delays all morning. A traffic management program in effect in Dallas and Fort Worth that is causing delays about 30 minutes for arriving flights. Otherwise, travel forecast is warm through Texas, approaching triple-digit heat there and triple digits in New Mexico and Arizona today. Much more comfortable through the midsection of the country. Plenty of sunshine as well. Temperatures hitting highs right around 80 in Chicago, 81 in St. Louis. Now, our temperatures today across the Midwest section of the country are right around 50 degrees in many spots. In fact, 51 here in Madison, 52 now in the Dells, still holding on to some 40s through the Wisconsin River Valley. Dew points, though, are going to stay very comfortable today, only in the 50s. Here's a look at your pinpoint city forecast today. 77 in New Glarus and Middleton. Plenty of sun to the west, 79 in Prairie du Chien, as well as Muscoda. And to the north, you'll still top in the upper 70s. We're looking at Baraboo topping at 76, as well as Prairie du Sac. Here in Madison today, our forecast high is 77 degrees. Temperatures are expected to stay very comfortable. There's that chance for some rain overnight tonight into early Tuesday. Otherwise, dry forecast through the middle of the week. A little bit more unsettled with chances for rain starting on Thursday. Here's our pet walk forecast. Do you see the squirrel on the tree?
Yeah, it really is. Squirrel.
And so does Betty.
Betty is really paying attention to that squirrel. A wonderful day to be outside. Look at that green in that yard.
How do they do that with one ear up and one ear down?
But poor Betty's too short to get that squirrel. That squirrel's going to taunt her all day.
She's got short legs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Morning Sprint's up next on News 3 this morning. 6:51, time now for the morning sprint. Hattie and Chris say it's going to be a little bit warmer today than it was this weekend. Leah Lynchide's talking about the latest on a senior prank in our area that sent at least one person to the hospital.
But we start in Washington this morning, where the president's personal lawyer says his client will fight any attempt to subpoena him in the Russia investigation. Rudy Giuliani told the Sunday morning talk shows that he continues to talk with special counsel Robert Mueller, but there is no agreement on an interview or grand jury testimony. Meanwhile, the president is meeting with the leader of the World Economic Forum today to talk about the impact of increased tariffs on products imported from other countries.
Speaking of those tariffs, the cheese and butter markets for Wisconsin farmers are way down this morning as a result. China, meanwhile, is the latest country to warn the U.S. against imposing tariffs on its products. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross was in Beijing this past weekend, tried to negotiate a new trade agreement between the two countries. The increased tariffs come as the U.S. tries to convince China to buy more American-made goods. Chinese government said there will be no deal if the White House increases any of those tariffs.
The Rock County District Attorney will be looking into potential criminal charges in a senior prank at Clinton High School that sent at least one person to the hospital. In a Facebook post, the district says there was an incident last week on the last day of school for seniors that endangered the health and safety of other students. At least one parent responded to that message, saying her child had been taken to the emergency room as a result of, quote, being drugged. We'll have more on this story later today on News 3 and on channel3000.com.
Leah, thank you. That's what AAA is calling the days right now, the deadliest days of summer. The organization says fatal crashes involving teenage drivers kill 10 people every day between Memorial Day and Labor Day. That's a 14% increase compared to the rest of the year. AAA says the main issues for teens are distracted driving, nighttime driving, and speeding. Parents should make sure young drivers are also following state law, meaning no driving between midnight and 5 a.m. and no more than one passenger in the car.
Sunshine this morning and lots of it as you're headed out. Temperatures primarily in the 40s and 50s. As we go through the rest of the day, we'll warm things up towards about 77 degrees with sunshine for your high. Clouds increase this afternoon with a rain chance overnight.
Thank you very much, Chris. There are new concerns about earthquakes in Hawaii this morning and their impact on the volcano from Mount Kilauea. Hawaiian authorities say a magnitude 5.5 earthquake hit the summit of the volcano just before 9 o'clock last night, our time. While the earthquake did not trigger a tsunami, it did shoot a plume of ash about 8,000 feet into the air and could lead to even more lava coming from the volcano in the near future.
Speaking of volcanoes, at least 25 people are dead in Guatemala this morning after a volcano erupted for the second time this year. Hundreds of others are injured. Thousands had to be evacuated, and an unknown number of people are missing this morning. The volcano is about 30 miles from Guatemala City. Smoke spewed almost 4 miles into the air and covered nearby villages in ash. Foreign aid is already arriving there this morning. Firefighters had to end rescue efforts over safety concerns as well. CBS This Morning is going to have much more on this story coming up after 7.
In business news this morning, the state of Michigan will run digital commercials in Madison later this summer in an effort to get better trained workers to move there. This comes after Wisconsin launched its own media campaign you're seeing here in Chicago and the Twin Cities to get millennials and veterans to come here. The Choose Michigan campaign will target millennials in the science, technology, engineering, and math fields, showing the job possibilities in that state.
We should have a better idea of what we'll see on the primary ballot this August here in Wisconsin later on today. Candidates hoping to be on that ballot had to submit the necessary signatures and paperwork to the Wisconsin Elections Commission by the end of the day on Friday. But opposing candidates and parties are given the chance to challenge those papers. The deadline to do so is 4:30 this afternoon. The ballot will get its final approval next week.
A number of public school advocates plan to share their concerns at the state capitol today on how Wisconsin schools are paid for. The Blue Ribbon Commission on School Funding starts at 9 with a number of school organizations testifying. After that, anybody can share their thoughts, with their remarks being limited to 5 minutes apiece.
Ahead of construction starting this week, the city of Janesville is getting some help to build a new downtown hotel along the Rock River. State economic development workers will give a grant to the city to help build a cobblestone hotel on what used to be a parking lot on West Milwaukee Street. It's one of a number of new hotels being built right now in Rock County.
It's going to be a great day weather-wise for the 10th annual Andy North and Friends Charity Golf Outing at Trapper's Turn in the Dells. The event raises money for UW's Carbone Cancer Center, where North himself was treated for skin and prostate cancer. Last year's golf outing raised more than $1 million for research at the Carbone Center. 6:56 right now. There are new speed limits inside the interstate construction zone between Madison and Janesville, and it's a sunglasses kind of drive for anybody going east today. It's get a check on traffic now with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning. Yeah, a few brake lights beginning to show up on the westbound Beltline. Look for slowdowns near the Stoughton Road exit and then again near Verona Road. Inbound John Nolan starting to pick up between Rimrock and Olin Avenue. That's going to add a couple minutes toward the downtown area. And other main routes leading into the city are still cruising along at the usual speeds with no major crashes or delays that'll slow you down. With your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thanks, Josh.
And our forecast this morning starts with sunshine and plenty of it. Here's the view from the WISC-TV Skycam. No clouds in sight. Skies are clear, in fact, across the entire area. Here's a look at our forecast for today. We have temperatures that will climb into the upper 70s. Winds from the west will increase a little bit this afternoon to 10 to 15 miles an hour, but it should be a very pleasant day. Outside of a chance for rain overnight tonight into very early on Tuesday, we're looking at comfortable temperatures for the first part of the week. Better chances for rain coming later Thursday and then Friday.
But a beautiful couple days or few days coming up here.
That's true. Yes.
Thank you, Hattie. We will be sure to have an update from the Rock County District Attorney, the Clinton Police Department on this senior prank that sent at least one student to the hospital.
We'll also have an update on the Janesville truck driver who's in court down in Champaign, Illinois for allegedly using a slingshot to send ball bearings to targeting minivans on the interstate. That's a scary situation. We'll have the latest on that coming up later today. Have a great day.